The hearth? He almost laughed. The fireplace was full of hot ash, and a black log with a hot orange heart burning within. He edged past gingerly, taking quick steps so as not to burn his boots, the warm cinders crunching softly under his heels. When he found himself in what had once been his bedchamber, he stood a long moment, breathing the silence. Had his father heard? Would he reach for his sword, raise the hue and cry? "My lord," a woman's voice called. "That might have hurt me once, when I still felt pain." The first step was the hardest. When he reached the bed, Tyrion pulled the draperies aside, and there she was, turning toward him, with a sleepy smile on her lips. It died when she saw him. She pulled the blankets up to her chin, as if that would protect her. "Were you expecting someone taller, sweetling?" Big, wet tears filled her eyes. "I never meant those things I said. The Queen made me. Please. Your father frightens me so." She sat up, letting the blanket slide down to her lap. Beneath it, she was naked, but for the chain about her throat. A chain of linked golden hands, each holding the next. "My Lady Shae," Tyrion said softly. "All the time I sat in the black cell, waiting to die, I kept remembering how beautiful you were, in silk or rough spun, or nothing at all. My lord will be back soon. You should go, or did you come to take me away? Did you ever like it?" He cupped her cheek, remembering all the times he had done this before, all the times he'd slid his hands around her waist, squeezed her small firm breasts, stroked her short dark hair, touched her lips, her cheeks, her ears. All the times he had opened her with a finger to probe her secret sweetness and make her moan. "Did you ever like my touch?" "More than anything," she said. "My giant of Lannister." "That was the worst thing you could have said, sweetling." Tyrion slid a hand under his father's chain and twisted. The links tightened, digging into her neck. "For hands of gold are always cold, but a woman's hands are warm," he said. He gave cold hands another twist as the warm ones beat away his tears. Afterward he found Lord Tywin's dagger on the bedside table and shoved it through his belt. A lion-headed mace, a poleaxe, and a crossbow had been hung on the walls. The poleaxe would be clumsy to wield inside a castle, and the mace was too high to reach. But a large wood and iron chest had been placed against the wall directly under the crossbow. He climbed up, pulled down the bow and a leather quiver packed with quarrels, jammed a foot into the stirrup, and pushed down until the bowstring cocked. Then he slipped a bolt into the notch. Jaime had lectured him more than once on the drawbacks of crossbows. If Lum and Lester emerged from wherever they were talking, he'd never have time to reload, but at least he'd take one down to hell with him. Lum, if he had a choice. "You'll have to clean your own mail, Lum. You lose." Waddling to the door, he listened a moment, then eased it open slowly. A lamp burned in a stone niche, casting one yellow light over the empty hallway. Only the flame was moving. Tyrion slid out, holding the crossbow down against his leg. He found his father where he knew he'd find him, seated in the dimness of the privy tower, bedrobe hiked up around his hips. At the sound of steps, Lord Tywin raised his eyes. Tyrion gave him a mocking half-bow. "My lord?" "Tyrion." If he was afraid, Tywin Lannister gave no hint of it. "Who released you from your cell?" "I'd love to tell you, but I swore a holy oath. The eunuch, his father decided. I'll have his head for this. Is that my crossbow? Put it down. Will you punish me if I refuse, father? This escape is folly. You are not to be killed, if that is what you fear. It's still my intent to send you to the wall. But I could not do it without Lord Tyrell's consent. Put down the crossbow, and we will go back to my chambers and talk of it. We can talk here just as well. Perhaps I don't choose to go to the wall, father. It's bloody cold up there, and I believe I've had enough coldness from you. So just tell me something, and I'll be on my way. One simple question. You owe me that much. I owe you nothing. You've given me less than that all my life, but you'll give me this. What did you do with Tysha? Tysha? He does not even remember her name. The girl I married. Oh, yes, with your first whore. Tyrion took aim at his father's chest. The next time you say that word, I'll kill you. You do not have the courage? Shall we find out? It's a short word, and it seems to come so easily to your lips. Tyrion gestured impatiently with a bow. Tysha, what did you do with her after my little lesson? I don't recall. Try harder. Did you have her killed? His father pursed his lips. There was no reason for that. She learned her place and had been well paid for her day's work, I seem to recall. I suppose the steward sent her on her way. I never thought to inquire. On her way? Where? Wherever whores go. Tyrion's finger clenched. The crossbow whanged just as Lord Tywin started to rise. The bolt slammed into him above the groin, and he sat back down with a grunt. The quarrel had sunk deep, right to the fletching. Blood seeped out around the shaft, dripping down into his pubic hair and over his bare thighs. You shot me, he said incredulously, his eyes glassy with shock. You always were quick to grasp a situation, my lord, Tyrion said. That must be why you're the hand of the king. You are no son of mine. Now, that is where you're wrong, father. Why, I believe I'm you, Writ Small. Do me a kindness now, and die quickly. I have a ship to catch. For once his father did what Tyrion asked him. The proof was the sudden stench, as his bowels loosened in the moment of death. Well, he was in the right place for it, Tyrion thought. But the stink that filled the privy gave ample evidence that the oft-repeated jape about his father was just another lie. Lord Tywin Lannister did not, in the end, shit gold.